Hello, Verbatim Lee here. I was able to sit with two local hip hop artists, local being the Aurora, Colorado area, and I was able to talk with them about hip hop culture and how it has influenced their artistry and also the message they'd like to portray through their music. Now, anyone who's familiar with hip hop culture history knows that it originated in the 1970s, specifically 1973 in the Bronx, New York. The first successful hip hop single was Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang in 1979. Now, hip hop is composed of five elements, being MCing, DJing, graffiti, dance, and knowledge. DJing was originally the mixing of already existing records. Graffiti is paint or ink based, usually portrayed on a public surface, but of course that has evolved to be on any surface. There's dance that was originally breakdancing, that's where they called the dancers b-boys, but that has also evolved into many different styles of hip hop dancing, and it's also a very respected form of dance. There's the knowledge that goes with the MCing, or the knowledge that goes with any form of hip hop, any element, of hip hop as to what you're trying to portray to your audience or to the individuals that are intaking your artistry. Now, the knowledge definitely goes hand in hand with MCing, which is the creative speech or the rhyme over music, in which many are able to basically say something, have a voice. Hip hop culture is very important to young African Americans because it is a way to have a voice. Now, lately in the media, hip hop has not been respected, or the rap culture has not been respected. This can kind of be blamed on the fact that a lot of mainstream hip hop has allowed individuals to become very successful that technically don't have anything to say or anything positive to say to the youth. Now, even though that has been the case in mainstream hip hop or pop culture, there are many artists out there that do have something conscious to say and do respect the fifth element of hip hop being knowledge and actually spreading something to their peers that's positive and empowering and uplifting. Now, the two artists that I spoke to definitely have that type of music, have music out there that, of course, yeah, we all want to turn up here and there and we want to have fun, but we also want to remember that there is a reason that hip hop culture was born from the African American youth, and that we do have something to say to one another, and that we do have something to uplift one another and encourage one another. So, how has hip hop culture inspired you?
Technically, hip hop culture is pretty much influenced in every part of the world. Um, and the simple fact that I'm an African American person and stemmed from us, hip hop culture has probably inspired every single thing that I do. To be honest with you, it's naturally an inspirational, educational type of culture, and it's real artsy. So it's definitely inspired my intellect, if nothing else.
What about your lyrical content?
Try to use it to teach. I don't want to misuse my platform because that's what a lot of other artists get into. They either misuse it or don't use it at all. They sort of waste it. But I see a better opportunity here to lead the youth and the youth as spirit too. Uh, so I try to teach in my lyrics.
So what's the overall message that you want to spread through your music?
Man, I just want people to focus on how we relate instead of like false differences, because that's where you get conflicts, and that's where you get people that combat the like natural love energy that comes in the rooms. And if you can't relate, it's where you get the violence and you get the bitter energy that just sends you into a spiral of like stress, depression. You're just not happy. So I figure overall message, ultimately I want people to unite, and I want them to do it through love and positivity ultimately.
Do you write, or is it like a mental process that you have in the studio? Or do you do both?
Combination of both. When you put so much time and thought into your lyrics, you kind of have to think like a certain amount of bars ahead, and you sit down, think. You can't just write whatever. So I do write, but it's a lot of mental preparation that goes into my lyrics before I even put them down. I probably think like 8 to 10 bars ahead, and I might only have 2 put in my phone or on paper. I do a lot of deleting stuff if I feel like it's not good enough, all that. So it's a lot of mental effort, but I do write.
And how has Colorado inspired your artistry?
It's home. Colorado's home. There's not really too much else to say. I mean, Aurora, Colorado in particular, I really have a heart for my city. I look around, I mean, everywhere I look, it's a new inspiration. I want people to understand my home, and I feel like that's another way we can relate, and then it goes back to my general mission. Home inspires everything. I feel I feel more connected to home than anywhere else, just naturally. That's just a natural thing.
Do you feel like Colorado has a specific sound when it comes to hip hop? Or you think
Uh,
it's now developing?
I feel like we have a sound, but I also feel like we're still coming into it. We don't really have leaders that have made it in, out of Colorado in general as far as the hip hop scene goes. We got some rock bands and other people that are artists. We also have people that made it in the hip hop industry that didn't bring it home. They don't represent us well at all, and they don't come back for us. So we don't really have anyone to look at to see like what is our sound. So we're developing it, but I know we have it. I know we have it. I can't really put my finger on it completely, but I know we got it.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course, I don't want to work anymore. And of course, I want to, be able to make an income off of what I love to do. But the main purpose is to spread a message and to heal people. You know what I'm saying? And if you're going into it and all you want to talk about is flex and all you post on Instagram is flexing and
Stunting on
I'm
people.
like, what are you teaching people? What are they learning? What exactly? How is this benefiting my little sister? How is this making her feel more like a woman and more like a queen? Like if like what Big Crit said, he said, if it don't touch my soul, I can't listen to it.
Right.
And that's the same with any local artist. Like, I respect people who are staying true to themselves, and those are who I fuck with. However, when you're just doing stuff just to do it because everybody else is doing it, I can't respect you.
Yeah, and it loses content value.
It's like there's no substance. You're boring. You know? And that's why I make the music that I make, because, you know what I mean? When I first started, like, it was like a mixture of staying true, but also like, okay, well, I feel maybe I need to do this to appeal. And that was definitely the wrong formula. Because I'm like, I'm not this, you know what I'm saying, this Trina, I'm not Trina, I'm not, Eve for real. You know, I'm Corinne, I'm Coco, you know what I mean? And so, and I'm like, I'm a poet, that's what I do, and I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love people, and I want to, you know what I mean? But I write the things that I write, you know what I mean? I actually spit something for a friend of mine last night, and you never really know how you affect people, you know what
how
I'm
they're
saying?
gonna react.
Yeah, and she was like telling me, because to me it was like, okay, I'm just thinking out loud, it's kind of sexy, it's kind of like a romantic poem almost, and she told me it was empowering, and she's like, it's very validating for someone, you know what I'm saying, who's reading it or listening to it, like, oh, well, that's me, and that right there is one of the things that I want to do, is like make women and make men and make anybody, you know what I'm saying, however you identify yourself, beautiful. Understand when it comes to music that music is the last thing that stays in a human mind. When someone has Alzheimer's, they never forget music. So understand that the music that you make could possibly last on that person until they die.
What about like your writing process? Like, do you sit and write, or sometimes do you hear the music and freestyle?
Yeah, most of the time, like, I sometimes I get these inklings to just like listen to beats, and I'll just put on a beat, and I always make the hook first. That's something I noticed. I always make a hook first, or something that, you know what I'm saying, along those lines, and then I start going into writing the verse. When I'm actually like, and I'll just like freestyle, maybe just to myself or whatever. But when I'm actually like, I actually get a beat, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write a song to this. I just like throw it on, I listen to it, kind of like just to get it in my subconscious. And sometimes I'll start writing right away. It really just depends on the inspiration of that I get from the song, and or at least from the sounds that I get. Because I don't come up with concepts. You know what I mean? Like, there's things that I want to talk about. You know what I mean? But there are beats that inspire me to talk about it. You know, I don't just be like, all right, so I'm going to talk about this and this and this and this. And I'm like, no, well, that doesn't really go with this beat. So when I hear the beat, I'm like, that'd be perfect.
That's it.
And I just sometimes type on my phone, write it down. And writing in itself is a high.
It's therapeutic.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's extremely therapeutic. You know what I mean? There was basically like all of my songs have been taken from just from my point of view. But these are situations that I know my people have been through. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I know you can relate.
Yep.
You know? And so that's the perspective I always write from. It's just, I hope you can relate. You know what I mean? Because there's 7 billion people in this world.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We all got to.
Yep. We have to have some type of common ground.
Right, some kind of common ground, right.